In 2012, archaeologists made a bombshell discovery under a Leicester car park: the skeleton of Richard III, solving one mystery while deepening another. DNA analysis confirmed the skeleton beyond doubt. But among the findings, no evidence whatsoever of where the princes were or what happened to them. Researchers have since proposed that the Westminster bones may not even be human, and a renewed examination using modern forensics could change everything. The Richard III Society and leading historians have formally petitioned for the bones to be re-examined. So far, the palace has not granted permission. Until those bones are properly tested, the fate of the princes in the tower will remain the greatest royal mystery in all of English history. Unsolved, and perhaps unsolvable. Edward and Richard, two boys robbed of their crowns, their freedom, and perhaps their lives, deserve more than 5 centuries of silence.
How dare you lay
Who do you
hands
believe
upon me?
murdered the princes in the tower? Richard
Lord.
III,
You must come with
Buckingham,
us. Do not resist.
Henry Tudor, or someone history has never named? Tell us below. Subscribe to Dark History Vault for more royal secrets, unsolved mysteries, and the true stories history tried to bury. New episode every week. 2 royal princes, the most protected children in all of England. They walked into the Tower of London in 1483 and were never seen alive again. They were 12 and 9 years old. One was to be crowned King of England. Neither would ever leave. This is history's darkest royal mystery. No bodies were ever conclusively identified. No killer was ever charged. For over 500 years, no one has been able to prove what happened. To understand how 2 princes could simply vanish, we must step back to the turbulent world of 15th century England, the age of the Wars of the Roses. For decades, the houses of York and Lancaster fought a brutal civil war for the English crown, a conflict that consumed entire noble families. When King Edward IV died suddenly in April 1483, he left behind a young heir, 12-year-old Edward, Prince of Wales, and a kingdom on the edge of chaos. Edward IV had appointed his brother, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, as Lord Protector, the man who would guard young Edward until his coronation. Richard was a seasoned warrior and loyal brother on the surface, but ambition in 15th century England was a more dangerous weapon than any sword. April 1483. Young Edward V was escorted from Ludlow Castle toward London for his coronation, but he never arrived as king. At Stony Stratford, Richard intercepted the royal escort, arrested young Edward's advisors, and seized control of the new king's person. Richard brought his nephew to London, not as a free king, but as a ward under his complete control. The coronation was delayed, then delayed again. On June 16, 1483, Richard persuaded the Queen Mother to release her younger son, 9-year-old Richard, Duke of York, to join his brother in the Tower. Within weeks, Richard declared his nephews illegitimate, claiming their parents' marriage was invalid. The boys were stripped of their royal titles. On July 6, 1483, Richard III was crowned King of England. The 2 princes, now legally stripped of their claims, disappeared from public view entirely. Contemporary accounts record that after summer 1483, the princes were seen less and less frequently, and then not at all. No one spoke of them openly. Rumors swept the royal courts of Europe. The French court openly spoke of the boys being murdered. A wave of fear and suspicion spread across England. In 1483, a rebellion rose against Richard III, led by his former ally Henry Stafford. The stated goal: restore the princes to the throne. The rebellion failed. Stafford was captured and executed. But the fact that rebels cited restoring the princes suggests many believed they might still be alive. But were the princes still alive? A haunting account from Sir Thomas More, written decades later, claims they were smothered in their beds by hired killers. More named Sir James Tyrrell as the assassin, a loyal servant of Richard III, who allegedly confessed before his own execution in 1502. But More wrote his account 20 years after the events, and under the reign of the Tudors, who had every political reason to vilify Richard III. In 1674, workmen in the Tower of London made a chilling discovery: a wooden box containing 2 small skeletons buried beneath a staircase. King Charles II ordered the bones interred in Westminster Abbey as the remains of the murdered princes. The nation finally had what seemed like an answer. But were those really the princes? In 1933, the bones were examined by medical experts, and the results raised more questions than they answered. The 1933 examination suggested the ages and sexes were broadly consistent with the princes, but the science of the time was limited, and conclusions were contested. The royal family has refused all requests for modern DNA testing on the bones, leaving the mystery officially and frustratingly unresolved. The suspects are many. Richard III is the most famous, but historians have long debated whether the real culprit was someone else entirely. Henry Stafford, Duke of Buckingham, Richard's own ally, had motive, access, and opportunity. Some historians believe he acted alone, without Richard's knowledge. A third theory points to Henry Tudor himself, who seized the throne in 1485. If the princes were still alive then, he had the most urgent reason to eliminate them. And what of the princes themselves? Could either have survived? The case of Perkin Warbeck, who claimed to be Richard, Duke of York, threw everything into doubt. In 2012, archaeologists made a bombshell discovery under a Leicester car park: the skeleton of Richard III, solving one mystery while deepening another. DNA analysis confirmed the skeleton beyond doubt. But among the findings, no evidence whatsoever of where the princes were or what happened to them. Researchers have since proposed that the Westminster bones may not even be human, and a renewed examination using modern forensics could change everything. The Richard III Society and leading historians have formally petitioned for the bones to be re-examined. So far, the palace has not granted permission. Until those bones are properly tested, the fate of the princes in the tower will remain the greatest royal mystery in all of English history. Unsolved, and perhaps unsolvable. Edward and Richard, 2 boys robbed of their crowns, their freedom, and perhaps their lives, deserve more than 5 centuries of silence. Who do you believe murdered the princes in the tower? Richard III, Buckingham, Henry Tudor, or someone history has never named? Tell us below. Subscribe to Dark History Vault for more royal secrets, unsolved mysteries, and the true stories history tried to bury. New episode every week.